Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the person who shows up. And sometimes it's the person who dares to say no. Welcome back to Dark Confession Files, where love gets messy, boundaries get tested, and family first isn't always the right answer. Today, we've got 3 stories that'll make you question everything you thought about loyalty, grief, and who really deserves your time. First, a husband demands his wife drop everything for a last-minute colonoscopy and calls her selfish when she says no. Then, a woman gives away a secret family recipe and gets exiled from Thanksgiving for it. And finally, a woman is asked to return her late fiancé's engagement ring 11 years after he died because she finally found love again. These aren't just Reddit posts, they're real lives, real pain, and real courage. So grab a seat and ask yourself, what would you do? Let's talk about a husband, a colonoscopy, and the moment a medical appointment turned into a full-blown marital standoff. This isn't a story about betrayal or secrets. It's about boundaries, responsibility, and the myth that family first means you drop everything, even your job, your mental health, and your pre-planned life, just because someone waited until the last minute to schedule a Dr. Essie visit. Here's what happened. Back in September, the husband was told he needs a colonoscopy. His wife reminded him in October, again in November, and still, nothing. Then, just days before their holiday trip to Nebraska, he drops the bomb. I scheduled it for the 19th. We'll drive to NE after. Now remember, this is a 7-hour drive, and he wants her to do it alone in the late afternoon and evening. But she's told him before, she doesn't drive well at night. She can do it in the morning, but not after dark. So she suggests, just reschedule for January. It'll cost a bit more, but it's manageable. He refuses, says it's about saving money. Fine. He reschedules to next Wednesday the 17th and drops another bomb. You need to pick him up at 12:30 p.m. She says, I can't, because she's a teacher. And this is one of the busiest weeks of the year, right before winter break. She's got parent conferences, a school party she's organizing, and her parents flying in to help with a big project. All of this was planned weeks ago, but he says she's being rigid, selfish, unflexible. Even says, you don't care about me. She explains, she can't just leave her classroom in the middle of the day. He's getting general anesthesia. He needs someone with him for hours, not 30 minutes. And no, this isn't an emergency. He had 3 months to plan this. He argues, you'd figure it out if it was an emergency. But that's the point. It's not, and it's not her job to clean up his procrastination. She tells him, I wouldn't give you 1 week's notice to take a day off work for something you scheduled last minute. And honestly, that's fair. She offers one last compromise. Reschedule for January. He says no, then says, figure it out. I'd do it for you. But here's the truth. Would he really? Would he cancel parent meetings, leave students midday, and rearrange his entire life for a procedure he waited months to book? Probably not. So she stands her ground. Says no. And now? He's not talking to her, called her a shit, all because she refused to treat his last-minute medical appointment like a national emergency. So, AITA? No, she's not the asshole. She's the adult who set a boundary and got punished for it. Family first? Sure. But not when family means one person gets to be irresponsible and the other pays the price. Now, this next story. It's about blood, betrayal, and the brutal truth that family loyalty has limits. Meet Sarah, 25, a teacher, and the only consistent adult in her 5-year-old nephew's life. Her older brother? He checked out when the kid was 2. Not just emotionally, he vanished, stopped paying child support, cut contact, disappeared for months while his ex, Lena, raised their son alone. But last year, he came back, not with flowers, not with apologies, but with demands. He wanted Lena's new address, immediately. When Sarah refused, Lena had moved for safety, he accused her of choosing his ex over family. Then came the real kicker. He tracked down Lena on his own and filed for full custody. The court asked Sarah to testify, and she told the truth. He was gone for 3 years, She's the one who showed up every day. The judge ruled against him. And now, her brother calls her a traitor. Her own mother says she ruined his second chance. But here's what they don't get. Loyalty to a child is higher than loyalty to a sibling. You don't get to abandon your son for years, then demand a do-over just because you feel guilty or want to look like a dad on Instagram. Sarah didn't betray family. She protected the most vulnerable member of it. And if that makes her the bad sister, so be it, because some truths are worth the silence that follows. Let's talk about grief. Not the Instagram kind. Not the I'll move on in 30 days kind. But the real, messy, lifelong kind. The kind that carves a space in your chest and stays there. This is the story of a woman who survived a car crash that took her fiancé 11 years ago. She walked away with scratches. He didn't walk away at all. For years, she mourned. She went to therapy. She joined support groups. And in one of those groups, she met a man who understood her pain. A widower, also learning to live again. 3 years later, they moved in together. And now, someone is telling her, "You've moved on, so give back your ring." His mother showed up last week with a request that felt more like a demand. "Give me the engagement ring back. It belongs in the family." But here's what she doesn't seem to understand. It was never a family ring. It was their ring. He saved for months to buy it. They picked it out together, garnet and emerald, their birthstones, because she didn't want a diamond. It wasn't inherited. It wasn't borrowed. It was chosen, loved, given. And now, she wears it on her right hand, not as a promise of the future, but as a tribute to the love that shaped her past. Her new partner? He gets it. He wears his late wife's wedding band on a chain. They have photos of both their lost loves on the wall. No jealousy, no shame, just quiet respect for the people who came before. But his mother, she says, it was his last big purchase. It should come home. As if love is property, as if grief has an expiration date, as if moving forward means you have to erase everything behind you. And now the woman is being torn in half. By her own heart, which says, "This ring is mine. He gave it to me." By her mother, who says, "Maybe just give it back. She's hurting." And by a society that still acts like you can only love one person in your lifetime. Let me be clear. She is not the asshole. Grief isn't a cage. It's a companion. And honoring someone who S gone doesn't demean you, refailing the person who S here. If anything, the mother is the one who's confused. That ring isn't in the family because it sits in a drawer. It S in the family because it S worn by someone who loved her son deeply, and still does. Taking it back wouldn't bring him home. It would just punish her for surviving, for daring to find joy again. So no, she doesn't owe anyone that ring. She owes it to his memory to keep wearing it, and she owes it to herself to live, fully, openly, without guilt. Because love doesn't vanish when someone dies. It just changes shape. And sometimes, it lives on a hand that S learning to hold someone new and someone gone at the same time. These stories remind us of something hard but true. Not every family deserves your loyalty. Not every request deserves a yes, and not every for your own good is actually for you. If you felt something during any of these stories, if you've ever been called selfish for setting a boundary, or punished for choosing your peace, you're not alone. So if this video hit you, smash that like button. It tells YouTube this matters. Leave a comment. Tell me, which story broke your heart the most? And subscribe, because every night someone just like you shares the truth they've been too afraid to say out loud. New confessions every day at 3 p.m. EST. You're not alone. You're just finally being heard.